Hi all, welcome to the Marquee Matchups for the 25th of October. Plenty to cover as always. Hopefully you enjoy this as always. Let me know in the comments down below what you fancy for the Marquee Matchups for this week. Plenty to cover in terms of a lot of big derbies and especially a lot of the random leagues. So if you can smash the leagues, we also sub the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter at Legend. All links are down below for posts on the channel and social media links as always. So first off, we start off with Switzerland Grasshoppers versus Basel. Grasshoppers Zurich to be precise. This is one of your hype routes. For me personally, I really fancy this as a 7 out of 10, mainly because there's easily a way to make a lot of the goals get used, but also a lot of the bronze and the silvers. So with Grasshoppers, you've got the goalkeeper. With Basel, you've got Vidmar, you've got Suke, you've got Zambrano, you've got Balanta, you've got Seridai. You've got plenty to work with. The goals is easy. It depends if they throw a ratings requirement. If they do, they just make it a little bit expensive, then it gets a bit interesting. Like, hopefully we can get better than a silver players pack. Then from here we go over to the Saudi League, the second of my big fancies. This is Saudi El Clasico. This one, it should expect a lot of hype because Al-Hilal and Al-Ittihad, big game, especially if Al-Hilal are the current champions, so take that into account. Tons of goals between the league in general, Al-Hilal especially, so you're not going to find yourself short of options. Look at the Brazilians, look at the Saudis, look at the nations. There are your aspects, even the rares. As long as you're covering all those sorts of bases, you're not going to find yourself short of options. Like, as long as you've got 2 or 3 rares in your squad, then you should find it sorted. Then the A-League, obviously everyone was hyping up the Melbourne game. When I said to myself, I said there is a lot of A-League games cropping up the first few weeks of the season, and don't be surprised if you see one pop up. Sydney versus Western Sydney Wanderers, I've gave a 5 out of 10. Sydney Derby should still get a bit of credit. People will still invest in this for hype. If you've been if you were aware of the fixtures, then you'll have known this was coming up. But with both teams, as long as you're going for the bronzes and silvers and buy all the golds in the league, then you should find like Fornaroli, Toivonen. You're not going to find yourself short of options. But for me, I'm just not fancying it this week. EPL is the option of Spurs versus Manchester City. Now, I don't see it happening. Like, Spurs and Man City technically are top 4 rivals because Spurs have been in top 4 the last few seasons. But for me, obviously the dude that I've got left centre back, if they were to do an exactly gold requirement, then I would be snookered. But if it's a rating requirement, I should find it fairly straightforward. Like Man City, you generally look at like Bravo, Danilo, Delph. Like Spurs, you'd look at Janssen, Vorm, Vinks, Dyer, Wanyama, Lamela, Sissoko, they kind of players. Then El Clasico, something tells me with 2 El Clasicos, the Saudi one and the one in Spain, you'd assume they'd both drop. Now, this is where everyone will go nuts and assume, oh, it's going to be a big requirement. And this is where almost they could put in a 20-25k pack, something worthwhile to really spice it up, to say, we've had bad packs, here's where you go crazy. Barcelona, you could look at Munir, you could look at Dembele, Arthur, Chilison, Vermaelen. Real Madrid, you could look at Odriozola, Llorente, Sebos, but be wary, Real Madrid have already featured. Then France is 1 week. This is where I really thought was going to happen. I genuinely thought this game was going to be this week. I didn't expect France this week with Nice and Marseille. Marseille and PSG is Le Classique. You have 3 of the biggest games in the world. 1 in France, 1 in Spain, and 1 in Saudi. Still be prepared for this regardless. Now I'm between a 4 to, now it's always a 5 really, I should say, to a 7 out of 10. Like, it could still happen, but obviously they're not going to do Marseille 2 weeks in a row. It kind of just sunk in the water, but still be aware of it regardless. I thought I'd at least mention this in the video between Marseille and PSG. Kurzawa, Sanson, then Classico Juven between Cruz, Azul and America. America dude is the left mid and the goalkeeper, and Cruz Azul is the right mid. Plenty to work with in the league, so you wouldn't find yourself short of options whatsoever. So it's a big game in Mexico. As long as you're balanced for the overall perspective, a rares perspective, and nations perspective, you're not going. And as long as you've got 2 from each player, 2 from each club within the league, then you should not find yourself short of options, and it shouldn't be very difficult to put together. So keep that in mind. Elias Hernandez, for example, the right mid is 350, so you're not too bad. Norway, Brann versus Rosenborg. This is interesting. Both are history between them in terms of the league, the title, and everything within Norway, and it is a title decider just now. So this is kind of could easily be the curveball option. Now, I quite fancy this in terms of my alternative of the week. Where it'll happen or not is a different matter, but still be prepared for this one regardless. Brann and Rosenborg. Rosenborg, you've got like Bentner, Janssen, Mike Jensen, sorry, Konradson, and Brann. I've got tons of decent silvers. There's no gold within the league, so be wary of that. Then South Africa, this is another one that everyone will kind of go nuts on. And our final wheel feature for the week is Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. It's a Soweto derby. There are only two teams in South Africa in FIFA. There's 2 gold in the goalkeeper and the right winger Balat, and then not much else. But you wouldn't expect to cover so many players within the league. You'll maybe need 2, maybe say 2 from the league, and depending on ratings and so forth. But it's a curveball. I don't see them possibly doing this, but people will go nuts on both teams, try and buy them up and go crazy from there. Other options you can consider are Lazio winner, Napoli, Roma, Hibs, Rangers, and PAOK versus Panathinaikos. But hopefully you find this useful, folks. Let me know in the comments down below what you fancy for the marquee matchups for next week. Remember to catch the predictions league. All the links for those guys will be down in the description below. Match links always. Sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter at GZLegend, and I will catch you all later.